What makes two plasticine figures from the 1980s relevant in 2025? My kids are no strangers to classic Disney fare, from The Lion King to Lilo and Stitch, which is the number one favourite in our home right now. Of course, their little developing brains also love some more recent short form stuff like Paw Patrol, Spidey and his amazing friends. It's that really cloying, engagement optimized style content with cardboard dialogue and zero character development across what feels like 1,000 episodes. So, part daddy daycare and part social experiment, I recently took my two eldest kids, who are 5 and 3, to see Wallace and Gromit at the cinema across the road from our house. We watched A Grand Day Out and The Wrong Trousers, and I had no idea what their reaction would be. Turns out they absolutely loved it. Within days, we'd tracked down all the other Wallace and Gromit films and we'd binged them all. And I found myself going down a claymation rabbit hole, learning about the genius behind Wallace, a bumbling British inventor, and Gromit, his clever canine companion. Here's what I found. Nick Park created the first clay models of Wallace and Gromit as a student at England's National Film and Television School in 1982. In 1985, Park joined Aardman Studios, a growing animation house, where he finished A Grand Day Out, the first film, and 2 other short films featuring the pair. Fast forward to 2006, and Park had won 4 Oscars and 6 BAFTA awards, essentially for shaping and photographing lumps of plasticine. Park's really interesting. He's something of an accidental hero, this Oscar-winning everyman. Speaking of the BBC, he explained, "I still have to pinch myself sometimes that they're still on telly. Even my first student film is still on telly." If we scratch below the surface, though, a focus and dedication to the craft appeared early in Park's life. He shared that as a kid, "I was always quietly ambitious. I realised that if I sat watching the telly, I'd never get anything done." So, most days after school, Park would take himself up to the attic to sketch, to build cartoon flipbooks or felt cutouts. And as a 13-year-old, he actually hired his mum, who had a home video camera, to help him shoot a film project that he'd been working on. The great train chase in The Wrong Trousers is one of my favourite scenes in all of cinema. It's this rare mix of excitement, there's dramatic tension, there's lots of humour, and it's shot in this really rough, shaky, off-kilter kind of way. Turns out those lumps and bumps are a distinct creative choice. Park explained in a video on the Aardman Studios YouTube channel exactly what the process was. He said, "We make a conscious effort on set to keep it thummy, to leave traces of fingerprints on the models. It connects you with the story, it feels organic, so you know it's real." Park continued, "It's one thing being able to just animate a puppet, but it's another thing making it seem like the puppet has his own life. It's a living and breathing thing and has a soul. That's the real skill." And that's what comes through. Whenever you watch a Wallace and Gromit film, you feel that life, even though they're the most artificial of all films that we see in the cinema in many ways. It took a team of 25 animators 9 months to make A Grand Day Out. That's a 22-minute short film. One single animator working with a single puppet produces 2 to 3 seconds of film per day. This kind of content, read art, doesn't scale. And that's actually one of its most charming features. Notwithstanding how labour-intensive they are, Wallace and Gromit films are some of the highest ROI productions in the whole industry. They sure don't scale, but they sell, and they definitely stand the test of time. This is a really refreshing success story in the era of platforms like Netflix and their more is more and worse is better content philosophy, which Will Tavlin wrote so expertly about recently. Nick Park's plasticine creations are living proof that, in fact, the opposite is true. And for me, there's a clear reason we can still watch Wallace and Gromit in a foreign language cinema in a village of 9,000 people almost 40 years on. So here's a prompt for you. Who's a creator that you admire who leaves the fingerprints on their work? And what do you love about their stuff?